never drink coffee. I don't like the smell or anything. But then when I was going to school, I had a waitress job, midnight to 8 in the morning, and then I had to go to class all day. And I just couldn't stay awake, so I had a pot, and I would drink it all day long, and I had to put sugar and cream just to get it down. And now I like it black. I know, it's awful. I should have just left it alone.
All right, the tool that we are so interested in is muscle testing. And the seminal piece on this was Dr. John Diamond. It's called Your Body Doesn't Lie. This paperback is still available online for like $6.95. This is the original piece on muscle testing. And since this came out, there have been lots of people who have used muscle testing and made adaptations of it. Some of the ones that I'm familiar with is Dr. David Hawkins. He describes how he uses it in his book, Power versus Force. Rob Williams, he uses it in psychological kinesiology, which is called Psych-K. And there are numerous other schools who have variations on muscle testing. Diane, would you come and sit here for just a moment? Now, the original method was to use the individual's arm and have them put it out sort of parallel to the ground. Just look forward, okay? And what you want to do when you do this is to push down right here at the wrist, not the hand, not the forearm, just right here, a couple of fingers and very lightly. And when I say hold, what I'd like you to do is to just push up just a little bit, okay? Okay, hold. Good. Now what I'd like you to do is to say your name. My name is?
My name is Diane.
And hold. Good. Now I'd like you to say, my name is Fred.
My name is Fred.
And hold. Oops. Okay, and relax. So, the idea is very simple. When you speak the truth, you are strong. It's that straightforward, okay? In muscle testing, you can use any muscle. When you use this method, and you're pushing here, you're what I'm trying to say, activating the deltoid muscle, this little muscle on top. Go ahead and relax, just relax, okay? And this works perfectly, except the little deltoid muscle will wear out very soon. And if it wears out, of course, then you can use the other one, right? What I like is to use the fingers of the hand. These are very strong, and they can do this for a long time, okay? So what you want to do is use the middle finger and thumb and make a little circle. And then what I'm going to do with the individual is go to open that circle. So if you'll just make a circle there with your fingers, good. Now notice that I don't grab her fingers, I don't pinch the fingers. I reach all the way around, okay? So, again, when I say hold, you just hold and hold. There we go. A strong response. Again, say, my name is Diane.
My name is Diane.
And hold. Strong response. Say, my name is Bill.
My name is Bill.
And strong. Good. So this is a very easy way to check to see if the individual is in a normal polarity, which means that you're getting a strong response when they speak the truth and a weak response when they don't. The easy way to do that is, of course, to have her speak her name and then speak another name. When I'm working with an individual, I always select a name of the opposite sex. Because I could say, okay, say your name is now Diane, I get a strong response, and I go, okay, now say your name is Linda, and I also get a strong response because her middle name is Linda. It's unlikely that her middle name is going to be Fred. So that's just a very easy way to do that. Another way to check to see if the individual is in the correct polarity let me show you, and hold for me. Good. Is to touch this third eye location here on the forehead with the open part of the hand. And here, hold, be strong. Good. And then again, this time with the back of the hand, and hold, be strong, boom. And you get a weak response. What's happening here is that this side of my hand has a plus charge to it. This has a negative charge to it. And when I touch this place, I'm in harmony with that plus charge. And so that doesn't interrupt the signal, and I get a strong response. When I touch with the negative side, it interrupts the signal, and there's a weak response. You can use that, or you can use the name. The other thing that you want to do is to stroke the wrist toward the hand and chest, and here I get a strong response. Go the other direction, and I get a weak response. Now, here, down is not always strong. Sometimes it's weak. The only thing you want to find here is that each direction, one's strong is one's weak, okay? You just want to be able to check that. Sometimes an individual will be flipped, their polarity is flipped, so that when they speak their name, you get a weak response, and then the other name, you get a strong response. That means their polarity is flipped. If they're kind of in the state that you're in when you first wake up in the morning, kind of, everything's not organized yet, right? So that's kind of the state that they're in. The easiest way that works for most individuals is the thymus gland right here is the key to energy flow in the body. And so you can just tap, come on, get some breath, get the ribcage to move, and just tap on that place, and typically the individual will come back. This is commonly known as thymus thump. And you can, do it for yourself to perk yourself up, or bring yourself into polarity. Just make a very soft fist and give a little thump on that thymus. Typically, that will bring most people back. Sometimes not. If the thymus thump hasn't worked, then offer them a glass of water. Oftentimes people don't drink enough water, they become dehydrated, and then the electrolyte balance in the body is out, so the energy flow isn't correct. So sometimes a glass of water will do it. So if you tried the thymus thump and the glass of water, and you still don't have them, they probably need an adjustment. This is something you're not going to be able to do. Hopefully you know a chiropractor you can send them to. When the spinal column gets out of place, then not only does the spinal fluid not flow through correctly, well, the energy flow in the body is also interrupted. Okay? So they might need an adjustment. So, now we've had the thymus thump and the water, and they've gotten an adjustment, and it's still not working. Okay. The other potential interference is you have someone who has serious metal toxicity. Okay? Yeah, there's all kinds of ways for us to soak up metals, breathing in a nasty environment, a bad water supply. The most common one is lead, right? That seems to be in a lot of places. Lead, copper, mercury, arsenic, zinc, all of those kinds of things are part of our environment. And if an individual has metal toxicity, imagine that in the fluids of your body is where the electrical signals pass through these fluids. Now, we take a handful of metal shards and toss them into the fluid. So here's these little metal shards floating around in the fluid. Here comes the electrical signal, and it hits the point. Where did that go? okay? So that interrupts the flow of the signals in the body when there's metal toxicity. Well, and if that's the case with this individual, then you're just going to have to use a surrogate, you know, to test them and to test for whatever sort of metal detox they're going to need. Okay? The mechanics of doing this. Now, when I have this, what I'm focused on is this little ring here, and there's this plane, you know, the ring is on this plane. So what I want to do is I really want to pull at opposites. You know, I don't want to be sloppy about that, pull at funny angles. So when I come into here, you know, I'm very careful about getting around the fingers and then pulling, you know, so here, just let your fingers gently go. There it is. See, I'm going this way. See, I'm not going this way or, right, variations on a thing. Because, you know, these joints in this little hand, they want to operate on a certain plane. And I don't want to try and make them go funny ways. The other thing that does is that keeps me in alignment. Because you end up doing this a lot, you have to be careful of your own little joints, right? So be attentive to, you know, getting your body in an appropriate position so that you can really pull these, you know, in opposite directions very carefully, right? Some people are really, really, really strong, and they don't get the idea of, come on, relax, it'll be okay. So with those individuals, use the ring finger. It's not as strong as the second finger. And if that does, and if they're still too tough, use the pinky. You know? So, I mean, you can use any of these fingers, right? Okay. There are times when you'll have an individual who, for some reason, this is uncomfortable. Perhaps they have arthritis or gout in their hand, and it's uncomfortable for them to do that. Well, then you could, of course, use the arm, you know, if that works okay for them, all right? The other variation that I've used at times is, here, scoot your chair back just a little bit. Okay, have a seat. And then put your elbow on the table. And then do this. Now we're using the bicep muscle, right? It's all the same. I mean, you could cross your legs and have them hold out their leg and push down on the foot. Now you're using the quadricep, right? So any muscle can be used when you're doing muscle testing. This one's my favorite. It's just ever so easy. Okay? Sometimes when you have an individual who has some kind of impairment, if it's not comfortable for them, then use a surrogate. Right? I use surrogates all the time for, in family situations, it's very typical for mom to show up and nobody else. So mom will surrogate for the kids, the hubby, the kitty, you know, just everybody. That's another wonderful variation for this, is being able to do children and animals, because the individual can surrogate for any of them. Shall I show that now? No. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little muscle testing break, because I want everyone to practice this a little bit before we take the next step. Are we ready? Do we have any questions about this before we do? Yeah? Okay. You'll have questions after you pull fingers. Okay, let's go.
I've seen that bicep one, that's cool.
Yeah.